Hi, friends. Welcome to the Wellness Lounge, where wellness gets simplified one chat at a time. I'm Carla, the Wellness Lady, your host and wellness coach here to help midlife women feel more confident, energized, and aligned through smart choices that support your health and happiness. Today's episode is one you are going to want to bookmark. We're going to be talking all about mindful living through morning and evening routines with my friend and special guest, Courtney Doll. Courtney is a soul led somatic coach and alchemist who helps people reconnect with their bodies and emotions to create a more vibrant, aligned life. She's the founder of Empowered Ease and brings a beautiful blend of Qigong, breathwork, and energy work to everything she does. In this conversation, Courtney is guiding us through simple yet powerful practices that can transform your day and your life from the inside out. Grab a notebook, get comfy, and let's dive in. Oh, and don't forget to grab the free guide with the morning and evening routines we'll be discussing. It'll be linked in the description. So, welcome, Courtney. I am so happy to have you here on the Wellness Lounge. And before we dive in, can you share a little bit about your journey from chemist to somatic coach? Like, when did you realize something needed to change, and what was the first step that you took?
Oh, wow. Thank you. First, Carla, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to share all of this stuff with your followers. And I love this question. So my journey started years ago, actually, when I was working on training my dog. I had a super high energy. I was working as a chemist. I had a super high energy, highly intelligent husky lab mix who, like, if I didn't work his brain, destroyed my life. And
Mhm.
so in learning how to train him, because I didn't like traditional training methods that used force, I found training methods that learn how to work with the dog's nervous system. And that was like, I called it like the greatest lesson in mindfulness I never asked for, because I had to be so present with him. And what I noticed is when I was experiencing anxiety, he was experiencing anxiety. It like literally traveled down the leash. And so by working with him and learning all of this about his nervous system and seeing mine mirrored back to me, I started diving in. I read The Body Keeps the Score, a textbook all about how the body holds on to past experiences and creates our thoughts, words, and behaviors in our lives. And then 3 years ago, I decided to leave my entire life in pursuit of my own health and healing. I realized that my environment was not making it easy for me to be healthy. It was actually actively working against all of the healthy eating and movement and mindfulness that I was doing. And I decided to pursue my health because I was 32 years old and considering disability because of all of the pain, fatigue, and inflammation I was experiencing in my body. And so, the rest is history. I found somatic therapy and coaching, and in 6 months gained access to more energy and vitality than I had ever experienced, like even from a child. And like then I was like, I have to learn how to help other people with this because it's all science based. It's based on the physiology of the body. Like I consider our body a chemistry lab, and we get to decide what reactions happen through nervous system regulation and processing stored emotions that are present in our physiology. So yeah, that's a nice little clip of my story.
What I love about what you just said is, you're a scientist. So, sometimes people would say this is woo-woo, right? But you have really looked at the science behind how this works. And that speaks to me. And my story is very similar as a teacher. And I made that same hard decision. That job was making me not well. And so I left that so I could pursue building my health. And that's how my business came about as well. And I think that's true for a lot of people that work in the wellness space. Wouldn't you agree?
Mhm. I do.
So,
I do agree with that. Yeah, go ahead.
so tell me a little bit more about like somatic work, Qigong. I said it right in the opening. Now I can't say it.
Chi, like CHI.
Oh, like the chi. Okay, qigong. Okay, tell
Yeah.
us a little bit more about, what drew you to that, what it is, just in a nutshell, like for us that don't know.
Well, so when I met with a functional medicine practitioner and like he looked at everything I was doing and essentially said, I can give you more supplements, but until you deal with the trauma in your body, you're not going to heal. And I looked at the modalities, and most of the modalities involved you going back and reliving those traumatic experiences. And I wasn't down for that. I lived through those. I remembered those. I had intellectually processed most of them. What I needed was in my body. So I found Peter Levine's work, somatic experiencing, and saw all of the like science behind it, right? All of the like the ways our experiences impact our nervous system, which impacts the way our genes are expressed and changes the chemical reactions in our cells.
Wow.
So that's really why I was drawn to it. And then the Qigong incorporation actually came during my somatic coaching training. It was a training targeted towards people who were business coaches, because like real change happens from the inside out. And if we aren't taking care of our physiology, our nervous system, we can't change our diet. We can't change our work habits. We don't change the way that we sleep. So the entire program was based on Qigong, which is like a 5,000-year-old modality from traditional Chinese, and it's like the basis of traditional Chinese medicine. It looks at the way energy or qi moves through and around the body, and how imbalances and deficiencies in the body, in the emotions, in the mind, and like kind of suppression of the soul or spirit, influences our physiology. And I mean, to me, and I was a martial arts practitioner for 12 years. So it kind of like naturally like drew me in. But the big thing is I did a 1 hour long practice, and over in 24 hours or like overnight, the inflammation in my body reduced by 50%. And I was just like, what?
Yeah, that's significant. Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I came to somatic coaching and Qigong. And Qigong is I mean, both of those things are a regular part of my life. I live and breathe them.
Well, why don't we take about 10 or 15 minutes now and take our audience through some guided practice? So you've agreed to share with us some morning routines and some evening routines. So let's show them what we got and y'all do it with us. Be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So I'll start with the morning routine and say that the morning and evening routines really kind of mirror each other. And I didn't quite realize that when I was like putting them together, but they do, and that's really cool. So the first part of my morning routine is I keep a glass of water by my bed, and I drink like 8 to 16 ounces of water every single morning, as I'm going through this routine. It helps to like replenish the water that's been lost overnight, really hydrates those cells, and even tells the gut it's time to start working. So that's the first piece. And then the next piece is when I put my feet on the ground, swing my legs off the bed and put my feet on the ground, I like to, and I'm going to like guide you through this practice and you're welcome to join. So just feel your feet on the floor. Maybe scrunch your toes, maybe press in with your right foot and then lift up. Press in with your left foot and then lift up. Just really feel your connection with the floor. Exhale out through the mouth. Inhale in through the nose. Feel your butt on the surface. Long, slow exhale out. And this is a grounding routine. Inhale in through the nose. Nice big sigh out. And then once I've grounded a little bit, I like to give myself a little foot massage. And the reason I do this is the parasympathetic branch of the nervous system ends at a point on the bottom of the foot. And that point is called bubbling springs. And I'll just lift my foot up for y'all to see. But that point is right here under the ball of your foot, kind of like between your big toe and your second toe, and right underneath the ball of the foot. And if you press on that, it might even feel a little sore or tender. And you don't even have to press hard. Actually, when I first started doing this, I used to press really hard, and I found that gentle, like kind of like rubbing like this is far more effective. So I'll rub on this point, keeping with those long, slow exhales. So inhale in. And then if there's any sound that wants to come out, allow that sound to come out. So movement, touch, breath, and sound are the key components of Qigong and regulating the nervous system. Making sound activates the parasympathetic nerve, especially sounds that aren't formed by words. So then
And
once
we
I've
get a
pressed,
little self-conscious about doing that, but it's so healing.
I did too. I was like, I'm gonna be like, I don't want to make noise. I was told to stay quiet, like
Right.
as a child. So it's actually been really healing for me to be expressive in
Mhm.
this way. And I will tell you, my Qigong practice is the noisiest practice of anybody I've ever experienced. Um, so after I rub on that point, I like to kind of like tap around on the bottom of the foot, kind of wake up the rest of the the foot here. And because there are points on the foot that correspond to organ systems.
Mm,
If you're familiar with reflexology,
yeah.
reflexology originated in traditional Chinese medicine. So there's all kinds of organ systems, organ spots on the feet that are great to massage and wake up. And then go ahead and put your feet on the ground, your foot on the ground. And then before picking up your other foot, take a breath and just notice. Is there a difference
Yeah.
between that foot you just massaged? What do you notice?
I feel like energy flowing through it. It feels a little lighter, doesn't it
Yeah,
feel?
awesome. Let's go ahead and do the other foot.
Okay. I'm excited.
Woo. And yeah, like this is also a part of grounding. This opens up our body to receiving the electrons that are in the earth, and our body really wants to absorb those electrons. Fresh electrons help to move energy. It's fuel for the cells, essentially. It helps to neutralize free radicals in our systems. So, and free radicals are inflammatory. We don't want those. So the more electrons that we have kind of like entering into our body, the less inflammation we'll even experience. So there's a little bit of science on grounding there.
Right.
Inhale in. And
Ah.
then go ahead and place your foot back on the ground.
Oh, I forgot
And
to beat it.
oh, go ahead and tap around. Yeah. Massage and tap. Whew. And you can do that in either order. What was that?
Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. And then I just kind of check in and I'm like, body, what do you need today? Like, do you need some energy? Or do you have energy? Do you need rest? How's the nourishment? Are you feeling a little low? Just like get curious. And then meeting whatever comes up without judgment and with compassion, right? And I will say on the days when I have a lot going on and my body's like, I want rest today, like there's frustration and anger that comes up for me because it's like, no, but I don't have time. But it's all part
Mm.
of this process of learning how to meet the body where it's at. And so on a busy day like that, I will intentionally find a little bit of time to like sit back and take a few breaths. Um, okay, so the next one is one of my favorite ones. So I invite you to stand up with me.
Oh, I know where we're going with this one. I've been doing this one a lot since we
Oh,
learned.
I love it. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is definitely one of my favorite ones.
I
So yeah,
forgot the other ones, but I remember this one.
that's great. So feel your feet on the ground again. Exhale out through the mouth. Bring your attention up your legs. Notice, like, put a gentle bend in the knees and then start to gently bounce. Inhale in, exhale out. Again, inviting any noise that wants to come up and out. Invite the pelvic floor to loosen. And just imagine any of those stressors or worries that you woke up with that were racing through your mind as soon as your eyes opened are shaking off of your body and into the ground. Inhale in. Exhale out. Bring your hands up in front of your chest. Get your shoulders involved. Even stick out your tongue a little bit too.
Ah.
Yeah. And then even like lean forward and like kind of like gorilla, like feel a little bit like a gorilla here.
Ooh.
Ooh. Yeah. And then bring the hands up
Ah.
above the head. And then lower them down and kind of lean back or like open the chest a little bit. And then drop the hands and come to a gentle stillness. And then just notice what you feel. Did emotions come up? Did some unexpected thoughts make themselves known? Or maybe you just feel some tingling in
I
your
do.
hands and your feet.
I do.
Yeah, and that's beautiful, beautiful chi. So that is shaking. And then the next one is tapping and stress scrubbing. So we have points all over our bodies that are connected to various different organs, have different kind of like energetic fields. And when we stimulate those points and we tap around on our body, not only are we waking up the cells, and the first time I heard that, I was like, what do you mean waking up my cells? But our body responds to pressure. Our
Mhm.
physiology responds to pressure, like our phones respond to the pressure of our finger on the screen. So by tapping on the body, we kind of wake up the cells there. We get lymph flowing because our lymph doesn't have a pump like blood does, our heart. And we need to pump our own lymph through movement and tapping. So I always like to start on the low back, on the kidneys, just gentle tap. It doesn't need to be hard. Exhale out. Inhale in. And tapping on the kidneys and the adrenals helps to release any cortisol that's stored there and start to turn on that parasympathetic response. Continue over to the sides of the hips. And then in the front of the hips, this is a really good lymph, a really potent lymph stimulation here is around the front of the hips. And then you can go down the legs. That'll put me out of the frame. You can go down the legs on the top of the feet and then up the inside of the legs again. And then tap around on the belly. Sending a little bit of like wake up energy to that digestive system. Let's turn on that digestive fire. Get the diaphragm, which might be a little bit sore if you experience anxiety, because when we experience anxiety, our breaths are short and our diaphragm doesn't stretch all the way down. Tap up to the chest. Right here in the center of the chest is the thymus gland. Oh. This is also called the Sea of Tranquility in Chinese medicine. So I'll tap on this point when I'm like feeling overwhelmed or a little overstimulated, like in a grocery store. And then right under the collarbones, there's like two hollows. This is another great one for anxiety. And then go ahead and put one arm out in front of you and take the other hand, tap across the chest, getting the spot right in front of the shoulder and down the arm, down the top of the arm. Landing at this spot right between the thumb and the forefinger. Now, if you're pregnant or think you might be pregnant, do not stimulate this spot. This stimulates contractions and peristalsis in the gut, and can also stimulate or be like associated with the uterus and cramping.
You're having cramps or something like that, it'd help.
Yeah, I do this during my period and when I'm constipated, if I'm experiencing that. And then up the inside of the arm, and then tap, like open hand and tap the armpit. That's another really potent lymph area. And then down the side of the rib cage. And then go ahead and switch arms. Remembering the breath.
That's the thing I do. I forget to breathe a lot. I'll catch myself through the day.
Yeah, and then massaging this point right in the center here again. It's really common, especially in our society and when we've got busy schedules, to forget to breathe. And because we're bracing, we're holding, we're trying to make sure that we're getting everything done. Go ahead up the inside of the arm. So I actually, and then the armpits, side of the rib cage. So a little bit of a shake. And then there's also, you can do the same on the back of the neck and the head, around the face.
I need that.
The face is a good one when you're doing your moisturizer in the morning. Oh, nice sweeps down the neck. And then whenever you're ready, just notice once again what's happening in your body. Do you notice a shift of any kind? Do you feel a little calmer, a little bit more at peace? Maybe you went the opposite direction and you're feeling energized and ready to go. Beautiful. So Those are the like my morning non-negotiables. Even on my busiest days, I do those every single morning. And then another piece is like after I've like cleared all of that stagnant energy and like the stress and the worry, I like to check in again and just like, what's my intention for today? Like I've got a pretty busy day today. So like my intention for today is ease, ease and flow. I want to flow through my day. And I find that ease and flow in my body. I find it lives in my spine. It might be somewhere else for you. And I just invite that ease and flow to grow. Become larger, gentle breathing. And then open my eyes, take a look around the room, like move your head and your eyes. This signals safety to the system. And then I get up and move forward with my day. So,
Good. I
yeah,
love this. It's so good.
thank you. A couple of notes, things that I don't do in the morning. I don't check my phone. Like, I don't scroll on social media and I don't watch or listen to the news. My mornings are a part of creating my energy for the day and for my life. And those things I've noticed don't support the energy that I desire to radiate. And then how much time do we have left, Carla?
Well, let's see. We're at about 30 minutes right now. So
Okay.
do you think we could kind of go through the nighttime routine in about 5 minutes, I think?
Totally.
Okay.
I can just explain it.
Okay.
So I like to start my nighttime routine about an hour before bed. I, try not to use screens from that time forward. I use red lights after sunset. So, and you can get like those programmable lights or whatever. And that, again, that just like helps signal to the body that it's time to slow down and the body starts producing its own melatonin. And then
Nice.
we start to relax and get ready for sleep. And then I'll go into the bathroom, do my evening skincare and teeth brushing routine. And I really, really like as I'm doing this, like, especially while I'm brushing my teeth, like you're standing there for 2 minutes. So it's a perfect opportunity to regulate my nervous system. So as I'm standing there, like brushing my teeth, I gently shift my weight from one side to the other. So, and we
Mm.
can even do this seated. So, like, just like find your center here, like feel yourself seated in the chair, and then really gently inhale in and shift to the right side, shift all of the weight to the right side. And exhale out. And then halfway over, inhale in, shift to the left. And then exhale, inhale, shift over to the right. Exhale, all the weight drops into the right. Inhale. Exhale, all the weight drops into the left. Inhale up. So that's how I kind of like make nervous system regulation and Qigong like a part of my daily life. So I do that while I'm brushing my teeth, while I'm washing my face and like applying my moisturizer and everything. Like I really get into the feel of it, like the warmth of the water, the feel of the cloth on my skin, the nice like smoothness of the moisturizer as I'm rubbing it in. So that's really great. And then if you've had like a challenging day or an emotional day, more shaking and tapping is really beneficial, like just before you go to bed.
Mhm.
And another foot massage, but this time I do it with a little bit of lotion and some essential oils. Like lavender is phenomenal. If you've got blends that are really calming, that's great too. Um, and then when I get into bed, I take 3 big deep breaths. So, and I combine them with a ha sound. And the ha sound is actually the sound of the heart. So all of the organs have their own sounds in Qigong. And so the sound of the heart just kind of like helps to like relax and calm the heart and the system. So if you'd like to join me in that, that'll be our last practice. So once again, finding the surface beneath you. Exhale out through your mouth. Inhale in through your nose. And on the exhale, ha. Ha.
Ah.
Inhale in through the nose. Exhale out. Ha.
Mm.
Ha. Last one. Inhale in.
Ah.
Ha. And I find that that's a really powerful way to just like add a little bit of extra relaxation to a nice long exhale. Um, so yeah, that's my morning and evening routines. Take 1 or 2 things. You don't need to do them all. But just take 1 or 2 that felt really good or felt nourishing and start small, because if you try to do everything, you won't do anything at all.
I think that's great advice. So for someone who's feeling very busy or overwhelmed, or you watch this and you thought, oh my gosh, I can't do all that. That's, too much. Pick one smart choice. That's what we talk about in our community is one change at a time. Make that a habit. Another thing I love, Courtney, about what you shared is something I share a lot in the community is habit stacking. So if you're brushing your teeth and then you're also regulating, you're doing the activity to regulate your nervous system, doing things at the same time or stacking, okay, making a habit. This habit, I brush my teeth every day. What's the one thing I want to add to do? And I do that right after I brush my teeth or before I brush my teeth. So habit stacking for the win. I love that. Love that book. So yes, this has been fabulous. Fabulous. Can you just kind of wrap up and tell us, since you've started doing these practices, these routines in your life, how has that changed your life?
Oh my gosh. I'm not living on the couch. I'm not dependent on medication. I'm not, I mean, I have so much more energy. I have access to creativity that I didn't have access to. I am running my own business and I couldn't have dreamed of that beforehand. Um, I have connections with people now, and I used to live a very like isolated, solitary life. Um, I mean, I'm no longer held back by the limiting beliefs that I had to stay small in order to be safe. Like, there's so many ways that this has shifted my reality.
So we talked about these routines. We've talked about what you do, but how can people work with you? Like what are your offerings? How can people work with you?
Amazing, thank you. So I am a one-on-one coach. I work with clients one-on-one in six-week containers or 3-month containers, depending on where you're at and what you're looking to achieve. I also do kind of like melt your stress away sessions. So maybe there's like one thing in your life that's causing you a lot of stress, and we'll go in with one session and dive in, find what's happening there, and you'll come out with real world actionable steps to make that thing less stressful. And then I also teach Qigong classes in person around St. Petersburg and virtually, currently as pop-ups. I'm trying to find the best time for everybody, so or for the most amount of people. And the virtual Qigong classes are 30 minutes. They're quick, they're snappy, they're really just meant to drop you into your body, regulate your nervous system, and give you the resources and tools that you need to go back out into your life and do what you need to do.
So we're both in St. Petersburg. So I know you do your live workshops here locally, but you also see clients one-on-one throughout. So they can do that
Virtually.
as well. So one of the ways they can find out what you've got going on at any time is sign up for your newsletter, right?
Yes. Sign up for my newsletter. Follow me on Instagram at empowered.ease. Check me out on Facebook.
We'll drop all the links. They'll be all here for everybody to grab the freebie that she's offering and to connect with her newsletter as well as follow her on socials. This has been such a gift. But I do want to ask you, and I didn't prep for this. I didn't prep you for this, but you recently started using some of the skincare from my online store, and I wondered if you could just tell us a little bit about what you're using and your reaction. How's it been?
Yeah, so I'm using the vitamin C serum, the Pomifera oil, and the sunscreen, the not tinted sunscreen. And I'm really enjoying the experience. Like I'm feeling like my skin is like recovering from the sun damage of living in Florida.
Right?
And the Pomifera oil I'm noticing really helps with the sores that I sometimes get on my skin. Like inflammation is really reducing. And then the sunscreen is finally a sunscreen with ingredients that I like, that doesn't leave that like white cast on my on
Right.
my skin, and it goes on so smooth. And like all of the products, it's just like I only need a little bit and it covers my entire face, which I feel like I haven't gotten in a lot of other things I've tried. So that yeah, I'm loving them.
Well, I'm just so grateful that you're giving them a try and that you're having that wonderful experience. So, again, thank you so much. And I do want to say this was a powerful reminder for all of us how simple little practices can truly shift our day. So, if this episode inspired you, be sure to subscribe and share it with a friend. And don't forget to grab your freebie, Courtney's morning and evening routine guide. It'll be linked below. Follow her at all her social. And thank you for joining us for the Wellness Lounge. And we'll see you next time. I will find the stop button eventually.
Sometimes they hide it.
It is.